Hey everyone, welcome to Kingdom Builder TV. I'm your host, Jay Heilman. Thank you so much for joining us today. Well, I am joined by actress Natalie Dormer, who is joining me today to talk about her brand new film today called Audrey's Children. Natalie, thank you so much for joining us today. I greatly appreciate it.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, glad to have you. Well, Natalie, you portray Dr. Audrey Evans in a beautiful and moving new film that's based on the life of the late pediatric oncologist named Audrey Evans. And the film's called Audrey's Children, which is in theaters this weekend. Can you tell us a little bit more about this film and your role in it?
Yes, it basically tells the untold true story of visionary British pediatric oncologist Dr. Audrey Evans, who was a trailblazer in her field of chemotherapy and is actually credited with revolutionizing cancer treatment for children in the late 60s and going forward. She created something called the Evans staging system, which basically, when it came into the fore, it slashed mortality rates by 50%. And she was also part of this wonderful. She led the way in creating conversation nationally and internationally about pediatric cancer, and got people to talk to each other, trials, and programs that allowed huge strides in treating children. And then she's also credited with co-founding the Ronald McDonald Houses, which your audience here may know just do an incredible job now in over 62 countries across the world, supporting families, more or less for free whilst they are undergoing treatment, and they're going through the profound trial and ordeal of their children receiving treatment. So she really is a completely defining trailblazing human being that we all owe a great debt to.
Absolutely. And, this role is a little bit different from, some of the roles you've played in the past. Some of us are so used to seeing you in like groundbreaking series like Game of Thrones and The Tudors. So I'm curious, what drew you to this particular project of doing Audrey's Children?
Well, I read the script and I just couldn't believe that I didn't know who she was. I couldn't believe that she wasn't a household name already, for someone who'd made such a massive difference to the stats of saving children's lives, and then the ramifications of that, obviously with the Ronald McDonald Houses. That's so relevant 50 years later. The incredible work that they do internationally, and the sheer scale and number of millions of families that the Ronald McDonald House charities affect across the world and
Yeah.
support across the world. I literally couldn't believe that I didn't know who she was, especially as she was a Brit, and I thought this is peculiar. And then it was just so well written, and it written by Julia, who has known Audrey her entire life, and basically asked her permission to write this biopic, to which Audrey answered, only if it makes a difference to children's lives. And so I read the script and I watched this wonderful interview where Julia is interviewing Audrey herself. I recommend that to your viewers as well. For Julia's, you can find it easily on the internet, where Julia is interviewing Audrey. And I watched that interview as well. And I was just like, I have to play this woman. If this is being offered to me, what an honor that would be.
Yeah, and I was looking at that. I realized the story takes place back in the late 1960s, and when I was doing some research, I do research on all the interviews I do. I saw that she had only passed away a couple of years ago, but she was 97 years old when she passed away, and I was like, wow. So it got me doing more research on that. And as an actress, I know
Yeah, it
that
was more.
you.
She passed away during the shoot.
Oh, okay.
I had the great privilege of meeting her, of sitting next to her bedside and holding her hand. And when we were
Wow.
about to start shooting, and 2 weeks later, she was no longer with us. So
Hmm.
it felt very much like she was holding on to make sure that we had begun. And she was very close to our writer, to our producer, Julia. So it's almost like she gave her blessing then she moved on. And so it was incredibly affecting for all of us. And Jimmy met her, and Clancy met her, and Amy, our director, met her. And I don't think I will ever have an experience in my career again where I physically get to meet the woman I'm portraying, and for her to pass during the shoot. I mean, that's not going to happen again. So I feel very blessed that I was given that opportunity.
And when I've talked to a lot of actresses and actors over the years and stuff, and when they're prepping for a role, especially when it's based on a real life person, a lot of the time that person has been gone for a long time, but you actually got to meet her. And when you're preparing for this role, does that make it, since you got a chance to meet her, does that make it that much more challenging to make sure that you kind of nail this role?
Yeah, absolutely.
No pressure.
Daunting, and the sense of responsibility is massive. But you think about that, your sort of 11 p.m. thoughts at night. But when you're actually then on set, and especially, I mean, that's also the beauty of working with children. When you're working with kids and you're in the scene and you're in the moment, all that goes, because you're just kind of with them, and their energy is so honest and it's so open, and their imaginations, and they're just so present that it sort of takes all that angst away, because you just want to be with them in the moment. Yeah. But yes, I was very aware, and I was very aware when we were doing the research and the pre-production. Amy Kanan-Mann, the director, myself, Jimmy Simpson, like other members of the cast, we went into CHOP. We met the current oncologists, a lot who were, residents and young doctors under Audrey and Dan. So you're seeing the incredible facilities and the incredible work that they're doing now, and that's a direct link to, they were their mentors. So you heard the stories, and then we went into the lab as well there, which is just incredible. The research that happens at CHOP is phenomenal. And then to get to visit the Ronald McDonald House in Philadelphia, all these people have so many it was a gift to meet that community. And it is a community who have firsthand experience of Audrey and Dan, and sort of be given the nod, and welcomed and embraced and encouraged. So many people we met were just thrilled that we were getting to tell the story.
Well, it's a great story, and she's worthy of this story being told, because without her, only 10% of children survive childhood cancer before she started, and afterwards it was upwards of 80%. So
yeah,
Natalie, you did a fantastic job. Yeah, you did a fantastic job in this role. Amazing film. I would encourage people to go see it. Natalie, thank you so much for joining us today. I greatly appreciate you coming by to talk with us about this new movie. Audrey's Children is in theaters this week. And Natalie, thank you so much.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
The leading force in oncology, Dr. Audrey Evans.
Hello. Nothing more uplifting than pediatric cancer on a Thursday evening,
Then you came along. You got me all the time.
I have bold ideas. Our standard therapy regimens are simply not aggressive enough to handle such a sinister disease. In fact, I'm actually waiting on results for a revolutionary staging system. Could be a huge breakthrough in cancer research.
Add it to the queue.
You'll be able to apply for funding in about a year.
My children don't have a year. I'm so sorry.
I don't want you to be sorry. I want you to save my daughter.
Miss, you can't go back there. Miss.
She got Jarvis Pharmaceutical to sponsor her study. It's as if the rules don't apply.
Keep on keeping on! Imagine a house for families of sick children to stay for free. People travel from all over the world to be treated at CHOP, but often they cut their child's treatment short because they can't afford the hotels. I just need a little bit more time.
Time that you weren't afforded to begin with.
We have the opportunity to change the course of a deadly disease.
Oh, good grief. Have you lost your mind?
I'm not sorry for doing what I know is right for my children.
Get them to see the importance of the staging system. It could change everything.
Age is definitely another prognostic factor.
It's a fine line between impulse and action, Doctor. Find the line, Audrey.
My children count on me. They laugh with me. They cry with me. And they're counting on us. Each and every one of us to rise to the occasion and figure this out. We owe it to them to do just that. Because they're your children too.